I would like to call the City of Apache Junction Council meeting of April 1st, 2025 to order and ask everyone to put their cell phones on silent. The invocation will be led by Councilmember Tess Nesser, the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Bambi Johnson.
Heavenly Father, we humbly seek your guidance as we discuss the agenda tonight. May wisdom, justice, and righteousness guide our decisions. Grant us strength to serve our community with integrity and compassion. May our leadership be a source of stability and peace, fostering a society where all citizens will thrive. We ask that you protect all of our military personnel and bring them home safely. And please protect all of our first responders who serve and protect our community. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Wilson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Schroeder.
Present.
Councilmember Cross.
Here.
Councilmember Heck.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Nesser.
Present.
Councilmember Soller.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Consent agenda. As a reminder, all the items under the consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request will be made prior to approving the consent agenda and will be moved to new business. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Soller.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser.
Yes.
Councilmember Cross.
Yes.
Councilmember Heck.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I have two proclamations here. First one, Week of the Young Child, April 5 to 11, 2025. Whereas all Arizona children deserve access to quality early care and education environments, and whereas quality child care programs build children lifelong learning skills during the critical years from birth to age 5, funding quality child care is a smart investment that improves family well-being, strengthens communities, and grows our state prosperity. And whereas the education, teachers, child care providers are essential for a workforce that helps Arizona parents get work or school, public places, or public policies, that support the ECDE for children's younger learning help our families, communities, and economic drive. And whereas First Things First, Arizona Association for the Education of Youth, Children, Southern Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children, and other community organizations in conjunction with the National Association for Education of Young Children are celebrating their 54th anniversary of the Week of the Young Child. And whereas organizations are working to improve equity, early childhood opportunities that provide a strong start for children in Apache Junction. Now, therefore, I, Chip Wilson, Mayor of the City of Apache Junction, do hereby proclaim April 5th to 11th, 2025 as the Week of the Young Child. Eli. You want to speak?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, for this chance to
receive this proclamation and say just a few words. Obviously, I'm known here for my role with the city, but tonight, changing hats a bit to receive this proclamation as a father and as a regional council member, first things first, for Pinal County, which, if you don't know, that's the early childhood agency that was created by voters here in Arizona back in 2006. So I love this proclamation, and I would just add one little thing. In the proclamation, it stated that there's a critical period between ages of birth to 5 for a child's brain development. One of the things I understand about that period that I've learned from being a father is that this little fact that during the first few years of life, a child's brain forms 1 million new neural connections every second. And by the time you become an adult, that slows down by over 95% to only 1,000 new neural connections. So they're literally a sponge. Children are literally a sponge. So I think it's the money that we invest in early childhood education, and also just time and attention that we invest and give to children, that yields huge benefits over time. And that's what this week is about. It's not about first things first or parents, early childhood educators. It's actually about the kids and raising that awareness of just how much of an impact we can have. So on behalf of the Pinal County Regional Council, genuinely thank you, sincere thank you to the mayor, city council for this proclamation, taking this time to show support and give voice to this voiceless group in Apache Junction, which is our youth. So thank you.
Thank you. National Library Week, April 6th through the 12th, 2025. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn into new possibilities. And whereas libraries serve as a vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, opportunities that support career growth and economic success. Whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, explore without censorship, standing as companions of intelligent freedom and free expression. Whereas libraries, librarians, library workers across the country are drawing together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Drawn to the Library. Now, therefore, I, Chip Wilson, Mayor of the City of Apache Junction, proclaim National Library Week, April 6th through the 12th, 2025, as National Library Week. Pam.
Good evening, Pam Harrison, Library Director. I'm just going to say a couple words. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, I just want to thank you for this proclamation tonight and recognizing your local library and the vital role that we play in our community. I really like the theme this year of Drawn to the Library because it really demonstrates the appeal that libraries have to inspire and educate and connect our community members together through all of the different things that we have to offer in the library. Everything from digital collections, physical collections, maker spaces with sewing machines and 3D printers. We have a little bit of something for everybody. And next week, as it being National Library Week, we are going to be doing some special activities. We want to invite everybody to stop by. We're going to have some prizes to give out, some popcorn to enjoy. And I just want to say I'm truly grateful for your continued support. And we look forward to having you visit us next week at the Apache Junction Library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to say, I think it's really fitting that we have the young child and the library week together, because there's nothing better for your young child than to get a book and read it to them. It helps their brains grow. It helps them grow. Get them, don't let them watch TV. Don't let them do cell phones. Read to them and have that bonding experience and help their minds grow. I think it's really fitting that both of these are.
Yeah, I
Here
think it's
today.
coincidental, but it is great that they are together, and it's something that we see in the library every day, but we could always see more of it. So yeah, we encourage everyone to bring their kids in to experience some playtime, but also some literacy time with their kids. We have some great little nooks in the library, and it's great to walk by and see a grandparent reading to their grandchild or a mom with a baby looking at a board book. So we really enjoy everything that we do at the library.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Regional intergovernmental updates. Anyone have anything over here? No? Over here? Well, I'm going to say one thing. We had an opportunity to get a tour of the Ironwood Station, yeah. And they gave us a terrific tour of the new facilities there that they are having. And it's really neat facilities. And it's these are going to be new condos for people to buy. And it was really unique in the aspect on it. And of course, we had a fairly good representation from the city here as well. All right, city managers report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bryant Powell, City Manager. Just wanted to share a couple things that we are happy to report on in the last week or two. The first is Councilmember Johnson and I last Saturday got to join in with the Apache Junction Little League and celebrate their opening ceremonies. And it was their opening day. We understand from the president that it's a record breaker year, and we're having strong numbers in support of the Little League. And we're so grateful Councilmember Johnson got to be able to come in and raise the flag and raise the colors and help support and be out there. And then I was asked this year to throw the first pitch. Every year, every other year. So very, very, very grateful for our Parks and Recreation Department. They did a really great job of getting the field ready, and it's just neat day, neat morning to see our community out together. And then the other item I wanted to share is our tradition, probably going on just over 20 years, is Scrub and Grub. It's a springtime tradition for city employees to express gratitude and thanks for the facilities that we have. When I started here in 2001, we were in modular areas, and we dreamed of having a facility like we have here. And when we did, we recognized that it would be a great opportunity to send a message to our community, but also to those who, our janitorial crew, to take one day and get rid of stuff, clean out things that we haven't touched in a while, and then also scrub. And then at midday, we have a traditional lunch for our employees. And that happened this last week, and we want to express our gratitude to you for the wonderful facilities we have to do our best as staff to provide the best customer service we can. And tonight we have with us, I'd like to now turn the time over to JC, if he could come forward. We've been working very hard in the area of geographic information systems. So much, as you know, what we do depends on our maps. And geographically being able to spatially show different layers is called geographic information systems. And we've done some neat work in helping the community understand and being as transparent as possible on our projects, as well as what's going on in the community. And I'll turn it over to JC. He is our division lead over there. If you've never met him, does a great work.
JC. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Again, my name is JC Kleiner. I am the GIS administrator for the city. So tonight, I'll give you a little update on a few things that we've been working on. But before we get started, I know Bryant kind of explained a little bit. So GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems. It's a multidisciplinary technology that works with a variety of fields, pulling information together from multiple sources, and then analyzes that information, displays it on a map to hopefully help kind of guide better decision-making. So I think what we're doing with the maps that we do make, hopefully that's helpful to staff and the citizens of Apache Junction. So we have 2 different locations. We have our city website, which is available to the public. It's accessible from the Apache Junction homepage. You go to our communities and then maps and GIS. And then we also publish a variety of internal applications that's available for staff to use. And that's organized by all staff at the city. They can sign in with their regular Windows credentials, and they can see a select few maps for them to use. And then we also organize by groups, usually by department, but then also we have some that are across multiple departments, and they're just a select few staff that use those applications. So go ahead and get started on, I'll show you our city website, and then I can highlight a few of the maps that we make for staff to use as well. So this is our GIS page, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the development projects map. Oh, I just lost it right here. I know many of you have used that. So we're working with development services on a regular basis, making sure that this map is up to date with all current development that's going on in the city. And as new development comes in, they share that information with us. And then we update, the information that you see here. And then again, if they have any additional documents that can be attached to that project, we upload those to the document center with any important information that's associated to it. A few other ones. I guess the most recent one is our capital improvement projects map. We've been working with the capital improvement project manager, Trina, on compiling a list of all of the 2025 capital improvement projects for the city, and then displaying those on the map. And again, the same idea. We looked at what information she collects from the departments and then organized it in a map. So you can select a project, you can see what fiscal year that project is associated to, you can see whether it's active or inactive, the estimated budget of that project, the funding sources, when that project started, and when it was completed. And then all of this information is organized, color-coded by department. And you can see the graphs here on the left. You can organize by how much that budget each department has been using, and then also status of what's active, what's been completed, and what's in the planning process. And you can zoom around here, and it's a lot of the same information, just organized in different ways. So, if you want to come over here and you want to search for a project, let's see. Oh, that's the numbers. There we go. You can search by a number, you can search by a name, and it'll take you right to that project. So we found that hopefully this will be a useful tool for citizens to be able to look to see what's going on in their neighborhood. And one other one that we've been working with is our FEMA map, which we've been working with our floodplain coordinator on making sure that we're updating this map to reflect the most recent information that we're receiving, from FEMA. One other one I'd like to show is this is an internal one that staff uses. And this one's pretty cool because we're actually pulling data from the Development Services MyGov permit application. We're pulling data on a biweekly basis, and it's getting updated automatically. And then those updates just get reflected every Tuesday and Thursday on new projects or new permits that have been issued. And you can click on a permit and you can look at some associated information for those. So I'd like to open it up if you guys have any questions or.
Not so much a question, but I am absolutely thrilled with how well the interaction works on the maps. When I've been at the neighborhood meetings, I've been really touting the GIS because so many people are saying, what is that that's going in over there? And we need to make sure that everybody who lives here feels like we are very transparent with what is going in. So I'm very pleased with the mapping.
Yeah, hopefully, these will help be transparent.
Other than just thank you for keeping them up to date. It's nice to have that it's a really helpful tool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, JC, and your team. I appreciate all the work you're doing. This is from a ground level up of sometimes just customer service questions. I think my first layer that we did was people zoning coming in. What's the biggest question you have, Rudy? Well, everybody wants to know what their zoning is. And so you just build on it, and helps us stay organized, helps us stay accountable, and helps us, helps our community also know what's going on. Like you said, it helps a lot. But there are a lot of applications that are done in public safety as well. We can keep coming back and give more. So thank you very much, JC.
Yep, thank you.
We'd now like to turn the time over to Rob Whistler as part of our continuance of keeping the community updated on legislative update.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Rob Whistler, Management Analyst for the City Manager's Office here. I'm here tonight to provide a regular legislative update. Tonight's focus will be on SB 1229 and its mirror bill in the House, HB 2371, at the state legislature right now. Before we get into the actual bill, I want to do a very brief, for our audience here, just a very quick education on planning and zoning to give them a little bit of a foundation before we go. So planning is essentially the process of the city figuring out how we want to grow. And zoning is the tool, the principal tool that we use to actually determine how we grow. Zoning is as simple as the city decides what uses are allowed in which areas. It's kind of a little bit more focused because this bill is focused on residential zoning. So there's 3 different general types of residential zoning. So regular homes, apartments, and then mixed use, which is an example of that would be you have commercial on the first floor, and then on higher floors you might have apartments. And each of these zones has their own rules that talking about things like lot sizes, how far buildings have to be away from the street, how tall the structures can be. And the point of all of this is mainly to determine how much density is, based on the conditions at the site, is able to be developed, and also how much the community actually wants to see developed. Turning over to another zoning concept here. So design review is essentially used in residential areas to keep neighborhoods aesthetically cohesive. All of these concepts stem from this idea called local control, where cities and towns are able to make their own decisions as they see fit in their communities. And this is actually a very local process, as the council is elected by the people to make these decisions, and then residents have their own say through public hearings and the ability to take a project to a referendum if they don't agree with a council decision. And all of these things have allowed for cities to develop as they desire and as they need to develop. So let's turn to SB 1229. SB 1229 essentially greatly restricts local government's abilities to plan their own developments. So for this bill, as of right now, it's set for a population threshold of 70,000, which we would be under for the time being, maybe another 8 to 10 years. But I've actually seen a draft of this bill at 30,000, and I think there's a distinct possibility that that threshold could fall to 30,000, which would immediately impact us. So what does the bill do? It says cities can no longer do design review. They can no longer require HOAs, but most significantly is cities are no longer going to be able to, through this bill, to plan for lot sizes greater than 3,000 square feet. I'm going to walk council through 3 examples within our own city, looking at the density, and then we'll compare that with what SB 1229 would do. So all of these that you're going to see are basically a 10-acre example. So it's a good, everything is even across the board. So this is our RSGR zone, which is our largest zone. On this, these are 8 acre and a quarter lots on this 10 acres. So 8 homes on 8 lots. But so we have an ADU or casita ordinance that allows each one of these lots to have another home on them. When we hit 75,000 per state law, homeowners can add even more ADUs. So you could theoretically, when you want to figure out what's the maximum number of homes on this 10-acre site, and for any of these 10-acre sites, you do 3 times the number of homes there. We're going to step down to another fairly large area within the city, and that's our RS20 zones. On here, there's 20,000 square foot lots, and the maximum here you could have, so 21 lots, up to 63 homes with the ADUs if you go up to HB 2720 in a few years. Next is our RS7, which is their 62 7,000 square foot lots here. You add in so 62 ADUs allowed right now, and then add in even more after that, you're talking about 186 homes in this area. So now let's turn to SB 1229. This is far more dense than anything we have. So in sort of in the north part of Apache Junction, our smallest lot size is 5,000 square feet. These are 3,000 square feet. On this 10-acre site, there are 116 homes on 3,000 square foot lots. When you add in all of the ADUs that would be allowed on this, you are talking 350 homes in 10 acres. And just to point out, I hadn't mentioned this yet, but it is important. Per HB 2720, we are not permitted to require off-street parking for these ADUs. So not only you have very tiny lots, but now we can't require these homes to have parking for them. So turning to where can these actually go? What about a state land outside of the city or on the perimeter? Certainly down south. Down south, this would be allowed. If someone wanted to come in and buy state land in and around the city, they can do that and put this in. It's already zoned for residential. Could someone go into downtown and do this? No, they can't because it's not zoned residential. Finally, could someone go in and redevelop existing lots? The bill's not super clear on this, but my reading of it is that that someone could go in and acquire 5 acres, because that's the minimum, and redevelop all of those into these 3,000 square foot lots. So where's the bill currently at? So it passed out of the Senate last month and went over to the House. Just last week, it passed out of the House Commerce Committee. It was very shaky, but it did get out. Since almost the beginning of the legislative session, the League of Arizona Cities has been working really hard to try to negotiate on this bill to save cities' abilities to determine their own futures in terms of residential development. Actually, earlier, so at the beginning of the session, the League introduced their own bills, which unfortunately have not received a hearing by the legislature. That's kind of where the bill currently is. They're currently in negotiations. It's not on a calendar for action right now, but there is always the potential, once it's out of committee, that it could move at any time effectively. All right, that concludes my presentation, and I'm open to questions.
Yes.
Rob, quick question. In terms of talking about design, would it also limit the fact that the city would have no control over the design of the home or residence that was built there? They could kind of develop whatever they wanted, however it looked?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that would be that we would have no say over the height or anything else of those buildings.
Let me check. If I recall, the bill doesn't mention anything about restricting cities' abilities to regulate height, but it does restrict non-ornamental design, which is a very clear concept.
I'm
Well,
more
I'll-
concerned that, I can understand if we were in a major inner city and they were trying to stack people on top of each other. But if this bill, if our residents and everybody around the state does not push to get rid of this thing, then that's what the entire state would be, is inner city, pretty much tenement-style living. When you get this many people into this small of a space, no parking or anything else, and completely gives up any view of a design or a plan or a feel of a community being able to stay the way it is.
For sure. And I will follow up with you on the height question, and I can follow up on that.
Rob,
Yes.
thank you. Who's pushing this?
This is
Money, where's the money coming from? Is it the Builders Association?
This is coming from the Home Builders Association of Central Arizona.
The same ones that didn't want to have fire sprinklers in any building. They'd rather let people burn to death and die. The same people. Follow the money, and you'll see where this crap is coming from, folks. And that's what it is crap. You could have right out here by our roundabout container homes, stacks of them, and nothing we can do about it.
Mayor?
Yes.
Once again, state government trying to meddle and mess with local government's ability to control their destiny. This is unacceptable. I hope the voting public understands, the local municipalities have the best interest of the people. When you go to the state level, it starts talking about money and builders and politics and power. And they keep trying to chip away at our ability to maintain our way of living for our residents who vote us in to make sure we keep that. And I hope the voters really take a hard look at who's voting yes on these types of bills and hold them accountable when elections come, and fire off letters and demand that they stop messing with the cities and let the cities run themselves, because we do a hell of a better job than the state does. We have a balanced budget. They don't, so that's my little spiel on that.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
A lot of things to say, but
Well, I'm going to make a quick little comment concerning it. And again, it comes down to, in talking to our legislators, they are, I'm going to say, looking at this as being a way for building more affordable and housing. And they're blaming it all on cities, saying that our requirements have increased the cost of the houses and everything, and that's where the blame is. And they also, in this, is saying that the general public has no right to say no to anybody. That the person that owns the property or is developing that property can put on whatever they want and whatever type of a condition that they want to put in, we've got no say at all in what's going on. So I encourage you, please contact your legislators and voice your opinion. Unfortunately, it's one of our legislators for our district did not recognize the aspect that the city of Apache Junction is underneath him. And that way he was commenting that he says no one in his district is complaining. Well, unfortunately, that's not true. We are. And so definitely let him know that you are from the Apache Junction, and therefore let them know that you're against this.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So this isn't the first time this bill come across. Now, are they trying to put this through committee and have it go to the ballot? Or are they just changing a couple words and sending it back for the vote?
No, this is effectively the same, and it's a bill, so it's not a constitutional referendum. It won't go to the ballot if it passes. It would go right to the governor's desk, so it could be vetoed. And yes, this was exactly the same as last year's bill.
So what would make us think the governor won't veto it this time?
Politics.
Politics.
I feel like that was good for her politically.
Yeah. I'll just say, it's hard to watch your own party say that there is a housing crisis in the state and have a lot of people being loud about it on both sides of the aisle, and then turn around and veto a bill that is the Starter Homes Act of 2025. So it's...
Looks like we're going back to the Capitol, Chip.
Yeah. Been there, continue going. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Your Honor, and to conclude my report, I'd like to bring back Eli to provide a few more current events, and then I'll be done.
Yep, just two events to touch on this evening. One is the Apache Junction Water Festival. This is a major partnership with a lot of community partners to teach elementary school students, I believe it's fourth graders, a day of fun, but also education focused on water conservation, how we get our water, everything that goes into that, starting young to plant the seeds of understanding for how important our water resources are. Why we're talking about this tonight, it's not necessarily an open event to the public, but there is a strong need for volunteers to help with the training and the education, and that's going to be open for the next couple weeks to go online and sign up, and there'll be a training for anyone that's interested in volunteering so that you're prepared to stand in front of the kids and help out with the activities and especially this educational aspect. So this is a very important event and something these community partners really take seriously each year in helping to put together.
I'm going to make a quick comment on it. I've gone several years in the aspect on it. It's an opportunity where you get to see the kids, to see how they are learning in the aspects of where the water comes from, what happens in the aspect on it. So many times they just think the water comes out of the tap, that's it. Nothing else happens. Well, this actually gives them the education of where it actually comes from and what's going on. And of course, one of the big things that's exciting for them when it's all over with, they get the fire department is out there and they get to hose all the kids down, and the kids just love it. And the only complaint I've ever heard is the bus drivers as they're leaving that they have all these wet kids in the bus. But it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to be involved in, and especially to answer some questions from kids and see the I would say ideas that are coming from the kids so they get to understand what's going on.
Thank you for that, Mayor. And the second one, something we touched on in our last council meeting, the Earth Day celebration and Ladybug release, a great activity to bring children to. It'll be held at Flatiron Community Park, which is in our center of Apache Junction, and this is on April 5th, so this Saturday from 9 to 11 a.m. Previously, this was held just down the street, so we want to make sure everybody knows it's at Flatiron Park this year, and hope to see you there.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I'd like to add to that a little bit. So normally this is being held at Earth Park Garden. the master gardener there, Levere Kurtz, he is inviting, when you get your ladybugs at Flatiron, if you want to go across the street to the garden to release them. Because when you release them, they need a place to go. Yeah. And that's a place for them to go. So whether, you know, you can release them there, that'd be great. But, you know, he's like, bring them across the street and release them at the garden.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. We got a short business meeting tonight, so we're going straight to a new business. Update on animal control services in the shelter. Chief Pooley.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm happy to be here today with you. We're actually going to be talking about a little problem we're having at Animal Control. And I know today's April Fool's Day, and I wish this was a joke, but it's not. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is our animal control and a problem we have with rodents. So before we get into that, we have 8 staff, full-time employees that work at Animal Control. We have 17 volunteers that volunteer on a daily basis, anywhere from 250 to 300 hours a month that volunteers come down to there. So those are our main priority. We love our animals, but our employees is something that we really have to take into consideration tonight. Just a little bit about the animal control. We have 38 dog kennels and 21 cat kennels. This last year, we took in 665 dogs, 412 cats. And if you look at the preceding years, you're going to wonder, like, why are we not as many animals that we're taking in? Well, if you look at how long our dogs and cats are staying with us, they're staying a lot longer than they have in the past. So people, when they're dropping these dogs off or these cats, back in 21, they would stay for an average of 6, just maybe 7 days. Now in 2024, these dogs are staying for almost 23 days before something happens to them. So that's why the number of animals that are being intaken, that are being brought in, is going down. Now the need is still there. We know and we understand that people are still bringing animals to the shelter, to the animal control, and which is why this is something that's very important that we're going to talk about now. Last year, we were notified that rats had started to come into the facility and started to cause some really severe damage to electrical lines, to the power, to all kinds of things inside. So in late 2024, Animal Control, we really experienced a huge progression of this infestation. I've learned a lot about rats. In my 24 years of being a police officer, this is new to me. But I had to learn, and we're still learning. We know that these animals are very smart. They adapt to whatever we try to stop, and they come up with a new plan. They also have babies or so every 28 days. So it's something that's happening right now. In late October, facilities, and we have Maggie Quinn from Public Works here. She's done an amazing job on helping us to try to get this resolved. We also have our interim acting animal control supervisor, Alice Edwards, here, who also, she's been down there on a daily basis and can speak to what they're dealing with personally. But in late October, we really took a hard look at this and started to try to figure out what we can do. There were a lot of steps that were taken. We removed ceiling tiles, insulation, redid the office area, and trying to seal up holes in the drywall and really trying to attack what was going on. One of the things that we're not able to do is the traditional method of laying down poison that is usually very effective. And the reason we can't do that is because of the dogs and cats, in fear that they'll either ingest the poison or ingest a rat that is filled with poison. So we haven't been able to do that, and we'll talk a little more about that. So here's a list of things that we've done. I'm not going to go over all of them, but Maggie and her team at Public Works and Facilities have really done a lot to try to mitigate what's going on. We've had some success, but there has been a lot of things that we have not been able to do because of that barrier with the animals that are there. Some of the things that I'll point out is we have contracted with pest control that come out on a daily basis to move these rat traps. Every day we're catching rats. If you see some of these photos, these rats are not little mice or little rats. They're pretty decent size. They have everything they need there. They have animal food, they have water, shelter, and that's why the animal control is unfortunately, it's what we're dealing with right now. We also, just in this last February, just the last couple months ago, we did try a new type of poison that's called, I forget the name of it, but it's basically a poison that you can lay out, it dehydrates the rat, and it's not harmful to animals. It's had a little positive effect, but still not enough. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were advised that more holes are being put in the drywall. It's starting to smell like urine of rat urine, and it's just causing a real biohazard, and it's something that we're concerned for our employees and everybody that works there, even volunteers and people that are coming to the facility. So next steps that we're doing is we are planning on taking a more aggressive approach, which unfortunately means we are going to have to temporarily close the facility to get all the animals out, vacate, and we are going to use the measures of using actual rat poison to see what we can do there. But during that time, we can't have animals, we can't have people. We know that there'll be the rats that are going to die, possibly in the walls. We're looking at having to rip the walls down and redo the drywall insulation and do other things that are going to help with that. But as you can see, this is something we've taken very seriously. Our animal control employees and volunteers have been down there working. Many of you know people that have been going down there, and it's at that point now where unfortunately this decision has been made. As of yesterday, we stopped intaking any animals, and it's something we're trying to find another temporary location, and we're trying to come up with ideas on what we can do to still intake animals. Our animal control does a lot of services with microchipping, adoptions, euthanasia, and just they do an incredible job. They're a beloved portion of the community, and so we want to make sure we still continue what we can. So, do you have any questions?
Your Honor. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you tried a flute? Just kidding. All seriousness, is there anything down the road? Is there anything? Have we considered just tearing that building down and building a new one?
Well,
Down the road, yes. So we wanted to share what's going on. This is something that we value the community to be aware of. And yes, it is in our, came up at the retreat, and it is just going to take time, Matt. So we have it in our space programming for design next year. But you know, you're still looking at 2 years out to do a right, appropriate, and safe facility. So we're not there yet.
correct. And you know, to your point, we are the only city in all of Pinal County that has our own animal control. Even in Maricopa County, very few cities have their own animal control. It's a great resource, and we know the importance of it.
Yes, sir. The last time when you did the first mitigation for the rodents, you were able to keep pets on the staff side. You didn't have to have them all out. It sounds like this time there cannot be any dogs or cats in that building at all. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah, we do plan on being very aggressive, and Maggie can speak to it maybe a little better, having spoken to the exterminators. But yeah, there's going to be poison laid down, and it's usually very effective. And in the meantime, we're also going to seal up more holes, take down drywall, put in different insulation that they don't like, and so it's going to take some time for us to get that.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't, but I guess my concern is, what are we going to do now with currently with the dogs and the cats that we have? Is there some, I know last time we asked if city staff might help out by kind of doing a temporary foster.
Correct.
Things like that. I don't know if that's being pursued.
Yes, we are going to be doing temporary fosters. We're also going to be doing free adoptions this next month, or we're in April now, and trying to really get these animals housed with somebody.
When do you plan to start?
We've already started.
You already have,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll have a communication plan. Kayla and Raina and their team and Chief will be working on that to help the community know and do the best services we can.
Correct.
What we got, and keep everyone posted, as well as the council.
Your Honor.
Yes?
Talking about this and what's going to be done and what needs to be done, and you said all kinds of things about the construction and destruction of the building to do all of this. So let's say we eliminate all the rats, but what's going to be done so that a year from now the problem isn't back again?
I'll tell you, we've been talking about that. The best thing that could happen is a new concrete building. Unfortunately, this building is very old. The walls are plywood, you know, there's holes through them. It's in need of some major repairs, but I think ultimately that is the goal, is to get a new facility at some point in the near future, and this may speed it up. But we've been talking about that. We know that this can happen again because it's the perfect environment for these rodents to be in.
So this is just, in other words, it's a stopgap for right
Correct.
now. It's just
It
a
is.
temporary fix.
Yeah.
How much money are we going to approximately spend to do this, where if we put that money towards a new building?
You know, I don't have those numbers offhand, but I know it's going to be a little pricey, and we haven't. You know, we're trying to figure out how we're going to pay for that and budget that still.
Okay, thank you.
But we're talking hundreds of thousands now versus we want to do it right, and programming could be a few million. We don't know. But
Yeah.
Well, for 100,000, we could buy a lot of cargo containers.
We've actually talked about that as a temporary thing. We've had all kinds of ideas come in, and
We're open to ideas.
and we are open to more. We haven't found a solution, so which is why we've come to you tonight to let you know where our dilemma is. But we're determined to figure this out.
You almost need to build the new building and then tear the old one down, being that the new building is built with CMU block and virtually rodent gnaw-proof, can't get in,
Yeah.
metal roof.
Still going to have to spend a lot of money, though, to kill the rodents, or they'll just move from one building to the other.
Well, when you implode
Yeah.
most of them will hopefully die in that great big inferno. Get the fire department out there for a barn burn.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Do we feel like, because this is kind of like something that just started happening, right? I mean, maybe a year or something like that?
Yeah, within the last, about in April or May of last year, we started to see an influx of rodents. It's always, they've been out there, right? But we've all.
Right, so that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, is the landfill using poisons? And are the rats going from there? Or all the earth moving going down south of baseline towards Ironwood? Are they getting them from there, and they're just finding places to go at this point? I mean, I would think that if anything would attract a rodent, it would be the landfill, which is no more than a tenth of a mile away from the shelter. So, but not there. They're coming to you. So I'm just wondering, is Republic Services doing something at their landfill to get rid of the rats? And then they have nowhere else to go except the closest for food and water and shelter.
Yeah,
I'd be
that's a
curious.
good question. I don't know.
We can ask.
Yeah. I guess just in closing, I'll say that we have been told by multiple sources that this year rodents have really been on the rise throughout the valley, even more so out here in this area of town. And it's just something that has really been an issue, not just for us, but other facilities as well.
One last thing. I assume that these rats are so big the cats can't handle them.
Well,
I'm scared to
we've
death.
let the cats we've let the cats out, and they've caught a few, but some of these rodents are just as big as the cats.
That's what I'm, yeah.
So
I'm going to make a quick comment. I've received a lot of, I'll say, comments from other people in other areas of our community, all the way up on the north end of the area, where they're experiencing rats in the setback where, I'm going to say in the past year they've been experiencing, but prior to that they've never seen any. So that they are prevalent in the aspect, and I have no idea what's driving them this way, but they're coming.
yeah.
One quick question. Chief, have we had any employee or animal that was bitten by a rat at all? Well, we had any incident
No,
of that?
luckily, no. And that's what we want to make sure
We'll
that
avoid
doesn't.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, okay.
Definitely.
Thank you.
No other
Thank you.
comments? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go to the call of the public. I would like to remind everyone, the call of the public is a courtesy and not required by law. It's a time for the public to express requests, communication, comments, and suggestions. Requests to speak forms must have been completed and handed to the clerk before the end of the city manager's report. All issues shall be addressed in a professional manner without personal attacks. Underneath the open meeting law, council cannot engage in discussions on issues presented, but may respond to criticism and may direct staff to follow up. There will be with the speaker and place the matter for a future agenda for the council discussion. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. And I've got 6 here. Dan Holland.
I'm just stopping by to introduce myself and my company. We're American Rodeo Mafia. We'll be doing the buck outs at the Hitching Post starting this Thursday, year-round. Just kind of wanting to introduce ourselves, let you know that we are coming in. We're going to be bringing in kids from all over the world. We are also a contractor for the International Miniature Rodeo Association, which we have kids that ride with us from Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, all over Brazil. Just kind of wanted to introduce ourselves, let you know that we are planning on doing some special events on Sundays for the kids over there, so on and so forth, and just introduce ourselves and let you know who we were.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mo.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, city officials. Yeah, this people had a concern where we stopped doing the bull riding about 2-3 weeks. There's a family, they were doing that. There was some injuries and accidents and family obligation. They decided to retire. And then luckily find that Dan, they've been in Arizona prior to pandemic, and after that they went to Oklahoma. And they have been doing that, the rodeo in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. There's a big rodeo company, they're dealing with that. And they show the interest, and we hire them to bring it back. And the other opportunity, just he mentioned, this IMR, International Miniature Rodeo. He's the only one contractor in west of the Mississippi. And we have a chance to qualify it over here at Apache Junction, and that will bring the huge, huge revenue from all over the world. Last time I saw, they have kids comes in from Australia and Germany and those areas and Mexico, and they came and they said there was, where they did that rodeo, there was a 5-mile radius, every hotel was booked up and a lot of people came in. Hopefully we see that opportunity come into Apache Junction, generate a lot of revenue. That would be good for the city and good for the people. And the second note, I want to thank you to council and the mayor and the staff and the city manager. I have a couple of small projects dealing with the planning and zoning development services. 17 years ago, there was a totally different atmosphere. Right now, they are extremely friendly. They are extremely helpful. And I want to thank you for that you guys working hard and helping us out, helping the public. And I want to thank you to Brian, and I want to help the council. Thank you.
Your address too, please? Your
sorry?
address? Your address?
2304 North Cortez Road, Apache Junction, Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen Meek?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Catherine Meek, 1327 South Bel Air Road. Today I'm up here talking about Tomahawk Road. There's been continued maintenance on there. Last year, Tomahawk between Broadway and Superstition was completely redone. And apparently during the construction, they forgot to hit it will engage the auto leveling, so it's a very rough road. Recently, they decided to do a slurry seal on it. It's less than a year old and we needed a slurry seal, which makes me wonder. But when the slurry seal was done, if you drive along Tomahawk at all, you'll see there's lines down the road, almost like they had forgotten to clean the nozzles, the application nozzles, or something to that effect. Then when they did the striping, apparently there was some debris in the road because there are sections where there is no striping. There's some where the striping is only part of the way, and then there's a whole bunch of blank little spots here and there. This is kind of making me wonder if we're getting a discount pricing on the construction out there, if we've got an apprentice doing the work and at least we're maybe getting a discount, or if we're paying full price for something that really is an embarrassment. If you're one of the people that drives along Tomahawk, it's like, who's doing the striping? There's a 2-foot gap here and there's half of a center line missing, and it's just kind of disconcerting. Finally, when they redid everything, the corner southbound on Tomahawk, when you get to Broadway, there's a big drop-off there. So if you've got a long vehicle, you're pulling a trailer or something, you're going to hit the big, basically, pothole on the side of the road, which is not very good for the road or for your vehicles. Thank you very much.
Donna Carr.
Donna Carr, Apache Junction resident. First, I'm going to say I don't think I like this shit about getting old. But now, when you talk about all packing in all these houses and there's going to be limited parking, if you have a husband and a wife and both of them are working, they each have their own vehicle. And then you get a couple kids that as soon as they turn 16, they want to drive, so they want a vehicle too. So I don't know where you're going to put all these vehicles or who's going to buy the houses. Unless you don't have any kids and you want to live in a 4-bedroom house with no kids. And as far as the rats go, I dealt with a situation with the rats, and one of the problems is when there's construction, whether it's building houses or whether it's working on roads, you disturb the rat's nest, and they're going to find someplace else to move in. And the poison that you use that does make them get dehydrated, it makes them thirsty. So even if you take the rat poison and you throw it inside the drywall and cover it up, they came in from somewhere else. They didn't come in through that hole. And they will find their way back out to try to go get something to drink. So it'll kill them, but I'd keep the cats away from the rats if you're going to do that. Otherwise, you're going to kill the cats. As I was told, the poison is, you can use the poison to kill the rats, but then if the cat eats the rat, the cat's going to die. If the dog eats the cat, the dog's going to die. So once you kill one, you just got to make sure that you decompose of it real quick. And as far as the road goes, I understand what she's saying. And my road that I live on, which is Virginia, when they did ours, they did probably, about 2 inches worth of seal over the top. But every time me or my neighbor go to pull in or out of our yard, if you go to back the truck in and you turn the wheel, a big chunk of tar comes out of the road, so you got to put it back over there and stomp it down. So I don't know. I think you get what you pay for. If you want a pair of Nikes or you just want the cheap brand, I think we need to find somebody else that does a better job with doing the roads. Thanks.
I'm going to guess on this was Michael, was it Clark?
Good evening, Mayor Wilson, council, staff, manager. I'm actually here really to introduce you to a program that's going to hopefully come across your desk. It's called a PCMP program. What it basically does, it gives compliance to a lot of the Affordable Care Act benefits that your employers and employees currently have available to them. The biggest benefit is you as an employer all employees. I should say, any employer is going to benefit, any employee is going to benefit. But for you today, the direct economic impact for you is it's worth $600 per employee per year perpetually. So based on the number of employees you have now, you would not have to pay payroll tax on $240,000 a year. So that could be retained for CIP, for helping the, as you say in your own comment, development and retention of talent. Okay, you could actually use those funds to help along those lines. The other thing it does, because it does use pre-tax dollars, but the way the math works out, every employee would receive about, on average, about a $50 to $125 bump in pay without a dime coming out of your pocket. That's the way it works. We would like it to be more than $600, but the IRS stipulates that that's the max we can allow, is $600. We want it to be $2,000 or $4,000. We would love to have that, but the IRS rules on it are basically at $600. So we do know we have to go through channels, we have to go through HR, we have to go through finance, but I'm making you aware that this program is available, okay, and that this information will come across your desk to save you literally $240,000. That's based on your employee count that I have right now. So whatever your employee count is, take it times 600, and that stays in your pocket, okay? And just a side note, just because it was brought up, I'll stump for the manager on one thing. Congratulations on Little League, but I'm a proponent. If you haven't looked into it yet, take a look at, it's part of Little League. It's called Challenger, okay? And just so you know, I'm a proponent for this also. Full disclosure, I'm on the board of directors of Parks and Rec at Gilbert, so I live in Gilbert. But Challenger is basically a Little League program. Sorry, but real quick, it's a Little League program.
You got 30 seconds.
Okay, you got time. You got time. You got a minute.
It's a Little League, okay, thank you. It's a Little League program, okay, but it's meant for any person that's not able-bodied. You could have, you could be in a wheelchair, Down syndrome, anybody who wants to play baseball does play baseball. And it is a Little League program. As a matter of fact, the best man in my wedding, best friend of mine, he was one of the original coaches that was invited to go up to Williamsport and prepare a game. So there were like nine teams. There's over 1,000 teams now. So
Thank you.
I encourage you to do that.
Thank you. Andre Meek.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Andre Meek, 1327 South Bel Air here in AJ. I see we're dealing with more rats than I thought. First from the State House and now in our animal control. So I appeal to the public as far as these House bills. Do everything you can to stop them. I want you to think about something. You know, once AJ gets larger, which it is because of all our development down south, and the unlimited ADU rules come in, that means that your neighbor will throw however many he wants because he's greedy and rent them out, and your streets will disappear. You won't be able to park. Then there's the sewers, water, all of this that ties into that. I mean, does that mean that, you know, the city has to increase sewer size, that they have to plan their newer projects for potential huge, you know, 3 times, 4 times increase as time goes along in sewers and water and everything else? I don't know what's up with the state. They're kind of taking the shotgun approach from once, you know, saying that, well, you know, the houses are too expensive, but then making it to where, you know, basically you turn it into a ghetto. And all of these ADUs, all they can be is rentals. And so, you know, it doesn't answer the question for affordable housing as far as purchasing. It'll get you someplace to live, but I really don't see this huge approach that the state wants to go to and limiting our controls of our rules and everything, that they're like way off base. So, I'm appealing to everybody, take a good hard look to see what the state's doing and doing everything you can to stop this, because it's just going to ruin us. And, as well as losing our tax base, what do we do then? And that's, something that I would like to see is some kind of, what's the contingency plan from the city? What are we going to do? We got to get the money from somewhere if they decide to, cut our sales tax and everything to the point to where, we're not getting anything. Does the city declare bankruptcy and, then who takes care of everything? You remember, if we don't have a city, pretty soon your toilet's not going to flush. And because there's nobody running the sewer plant. You're not going to get water because you don't have a water department. Crime's going to go crazy because there's no police. So, it's a snowball effect. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from council?
Your Honor. Brian, can we get a report on Tomahawk from Superstition to Broadway and then from Old West Highway south to the freeway, how that section of road is holding up from the heavy truck traffic that it gets now, or heavy equipment, I should say?
We will certainly do that, and we have Ted here with us today, was able to hear some of this, and we can get a report back.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just have to know, was it a ball or a strike?
Yeah, I already asked.
It was a ball.
Okay.
Your Honor.
High.
I just want to make sure we're being open and honest here. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it was high. It was luckily high and tight for lefties. So.
Your Honor.
Yes.
You brushed him off the plate.
That's right, brushed him off the plate. It was the first pitch.
I think it's important to note that the new rodeo company that will be servicing our community is a 5103C nonprofit, which means that a large portion of the revenue they're going to bring in is going to go back to the youth, which is giving these kids of our community an opportunity to be able to travel around the country and compete. And I think that's pretty great.
I agree. Anything we can do to have our youth have some sort of entertainment.
Definitely. Other comments? All adjourned. Thank you.